Ready to rumble? Because you should be, because on today's episode of Mumbles, we're reviewing Action Arcade Wrestling. Coming up next on Mumbles. Hi everyone, Mumbles here. Today, we're ready to wrestle. Because we're reviewing a wrestling game. No, it's not WWE 2K21, it's nothing like that. It's a very simplistic game called Action Arcade Wrestling. Let's jump into the review on this game. Just perform a body slam, knock him down with the clothesline, pull off the classic pile driver, and shoot lightning bolts into your opponent's face? Whatever you do, don't find yourself looking up at the lights. Action Arcade brings everything you love from the 90s wrestling games with its own twist of chaos and fun. Join the action, step to the ropes in this fast-paced arcade wrestling extravaganza to super kick the overly stimulated wrestling game out of the ring. Choose from a roster of 30-plus outrageous wrestlers executing their powerful moves and superhero-like abilities in the most over-the-top wrestling game ever conceived. If that isn't crazy enough for you, jump into AAW Wrestle Lab to create your ultimate wrestler. At the time of this review, this game is available for PC, PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and Nintendo Switch. We are reviewing it today on the Nintendo Switch. So that sums up all the basic information. Now we're going to move on to the gameplay section. But before we do that, I do have to ask, please subscribe to MumblesVideos. Just please subscribe and know that I appreciate it. Thank you guys all so much for the support. You're amazing. On to the gameplay section. Oh yeah. Gameplay-wise, what you see is what you get. And that's exactly what you can expect from this game. It's a wrestling game. You wrestle other wrestlers. Now, to do that, you have some basic moves and basic button combos that you have to press in order to do certain things, certain ways you walk and things. But for the most part, it's a wrestling game. If you've ever played one of these wrestling games, you kind of know what to expect from this one. Learn the moves, learn how to get people, learn how to beat them up, and you're good to go. Now, with that in mind, there are some various game modes in this thing. You can fight in all different kinds of matches, whether it be tag team, 4-on-4, battle royale. There's all different kinds of matches that you can put together on this thing. And there is a create a character mode where you can create a character of your imagination. And that's pretty much the game. Very simplistic, very easy to understand. We're going to move now on to the con section. And the first con is that this game really didn't have any story or progression. I know that not every game needs a story or a progression, but I do kind of wish there was just, even if it had just been like, hey, take your wrestler up this rank of wrestlers. I think that would have been a cool idea to make them, kind of like Punch-Out used to be, and have them, go through each opponent getting harder and harder as you go along. I think that would have been a nice addition. It wouldn't have been that hard to do. It would have given you more to do than just, oh, I'm going to do a one-on-one match, or oh, I'm going to do a battle royale. I just think it could have been a cool idea to incorporate something like that with a little bit of progression to have kind of a little bit of a story there. The second con for this game is that there is a bit of a learning curve when you get this game with the moves. They give you this big long tutorial in the beginning, and even with that tutorial, I still found myself struggling to figure out how to do certain moves, so there is a bit of a learning curve when you start this game. And the final con is that tutorial that I just mentioned. You can't skip it, you have to do it at the start of the game, and it's long, and I didn't really want to do it when I started the game. I just wanted to jump into it and learn things myself, so I'm not going to grade it off for that, but I am listing it here as a con. Okay. So now we come to my score section, and I have to say, I was impressed by this game with what they did with it, the graphics and everything about it in that regard. And I liked everything they did with it with like the graphics and everything about it in that regard. I even liked the wrestlers and the way that they made the wrestlers move and stuff. I liked all that stuff. But the one thing that I cannot get over, as I mentioned in the con section, is the lack of progression. I just feel like they could have done so much more with this game. I just, to have a game where it's just, oh, here's a set of matches you can do, and that's it. It felt like, to me, it needed more. Maybe I'm wrong in saying that. Maybe you will disagree with me. But I am going to give it a bit of a score drop because of that. But even with that being said, I actually did really like this game. I like the way it plays. It doesn't have as many glitches as some of the WWE games. And it's just a fun little game to turn on and play sometimes when you're, in the mood for wrestling. Can't say enough good things, and on today's episode of Mumbles, I am giving this game a 5 out of 10 on today's episode of Mumbles. Anyways, guys, this has been my review of Action Arcade Wrestling. I hope you guys all enjoyed this. Please smack that subscribe button, smack the like button, and smack all those buttons. And I'll see you guys all in the next video. Bye, everyone. Take care.